Show us the fridge then. Hang on, let it get through first.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Ooh, look at that.
A dedicated shelf.
The shelf is ready for the medicine. We're ready.
We're just waiting for you now to come out.
What do you mean?
The baby.
Oh, I think you meant for me to come out, so I've come out, love. Done that. So it's the 16th of March. I'm due to start my treatment on the 23rd of March. I have all my medicine arriving tomorrow. I've cleared out the shelf in the fridge. I had booked a training room at work to talk to my line manager today. I was really kind of mentally gearing up for it. I'd ordered special packs online so that I could transport my medication in kind of like a small cool bag type thing and store it safely at work. And I was kind of getting in the zone of realizing, okay, the first injection I do will have to be at work. I work at a university. I have a very long commute. On average, it takes me about an hour and 10 to an hour and a half to get there each way. A couple of days I teach until very late. So I was very stressed and worried about how I was going to kind of get through this treatment and juggle work. But actually, as I went through it, people have been very nice so far. People have been very supportive. And I thought, actually, do you know what? Everything's going to be fine. And then, so today's Monday. 2 days ago, last Friday technically, our university has now shut down. I'm making this video during the coronavirus pandemic, and I kind of don't really know where to go and what to say, because this is such an unprecedented situation. You can't really Google, should you carry on with IVF in the midst of a pandemic, and get a straight answer. And it's bizarre because all these weeks and months in the lead up to this of me worrying about how am I going to navigate work? How am I going to deal with my commute? How am I going to hide my injections? What happens if I need a day off work? All that has kind of sunk into a black hole. And I am now isolating technically in my house on my own. My partner's at work but is likely to come back today or tomorrow and will probably be isolating with me very soon. And we are working from home. My university's moved all the teaching, everything online, and that obviously is great, and we're all going to push forward with that, but also very strange. I know I'm going to really miss seeing my students and my colleagues, and just trying to navigate this new way of teaching and working is just a really strange moment. But now in the middle of this, I've got £1,500 or £1,200 worth of medicine that was meant to arrive tomorrow. We haven't heard anything from our clinic. We don't know whether they're now going to advise us to cancel our treatment. I've been reading a lot of stories online over the weekend, which has served to really stress me out. Some people are saying that their treatment has been cancelled or postponed. Some people are saying that they're mid-cycle and they're being told to stop their medication. Other people are saying they're carrying on as normal. I really don't know what to do, and I wish there was a place or a person I could speak to that would say, actually, do you know what, based on previous examples, this is what you should do. But there are no previous examples. We're so in the early stages of understanding this virus, the effects it could have on, I don't know, on IVF treatment, on pregnancy, on babies. And the general feedback I've received from a lot of friends and family and people, you know, colleagues, and who are very concerned is, don't do the treatment. You know, we're all being told to isolate, we're in a pandemic. Why on earth would you start IVF treatment during this time? Not a good idea. Myself and my partner, although fully understanding the arguments, kind of feel that from what we've read and what we can understand at the moment, this situation isn't going to magically disappear in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. It sounds like this is kind of a long haul virus that we are dealing with. In the UK, they're saying it's going to peak in kind of the May-June time. So if we were to postpone our treatment now for a month or 2 months, then we would merely be doing it during that peak. Even if we were to postpone it till September, October, going into the winter, feasibly this could be when the virus is at its worst. We don't know. We're dealing with kind of the complete unknown. So my perspective at the moment is, if we are allowed to go ahead, we will go ahead. Ironically, the fact that I am now having to kind of self-isolate and stay at home and only go out if I need, groceries and not much else, because it's not really the advisable thing to do at the moment. In a way, it's kind of humorous because I spent so many weeks and months panicking about something that actually I didn't need to panic about, because I have no commute now. I have no little bag that I'll be running around with trying to hide needles in. I will not be having to book rooms at work to try and stab myself with these needles. I will not be having to hide it. I will be in the comfort of my own home. If I have side effects, I'm in the best place, and that's all good. My only fear is obviously if this pandemic widens, which it's likely to do, whether the staff at our clinic then go down with it and then they have to close down the clinic and we're told to stop mid-cycle and goodness knows what. I think that will all come to light later in the week. I've managed to postpone our prescription medication for a couple more days until Thursday, in the hopes that if the treatment is cancelled, I can call off the delivery, because if this medication is delivered, some of it only has a shelf life of a month, so it would feasibly, we'd have paid all this money for it, only to have to dispose of it and not be able to use it and not get a refund or anything. So that's all a bit heavy and frightening. So that's where we're at the moment. And my gosh, I mean, I'm telling you now, very strange things happen to me. I kind of am known. I have this weird thing that's followed me throughout my life, whereby any big thing I do in life is normally tainted in some way. I normally have a variety of strange things happen. A lot of challenges will often come up for me, but I'll always manage to kind of knock them down and get through it. And I knew this would be a challenge. I thought I was going to have some weird side effect, or that I'd kind of collapse at work. I never thought that I'd have to be doing IVF in the middle of a pandemic. That is a new level for me, even for me, to have reached. And I'm glad that these videos won't be going out for a long time, if ever. Because I think if I was to put this video out today, on the 16th of March 2020, people would be commenting below saying, do not do this treatment, you are selfish, don't be crazy, are you mad? Arguably yes. But for the reasons previously stated, I think it is in some ways a good time to do it. I don't believe that in 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, it's potentially going to be any better. I can't really wait. If I was, 26, had a really good egg count and everything was looking hunky-dory, yes, arguably I could easily wait. I'm 32 and a half, my egg count is low, I'm kind of scared, so I'd rather carry on with it. And I realised that my fridge has been making a noise in the background, so I apologise for that. So if you are going through IVF or contemplating IVF in the midst of this pandemic, please do let me know how it worked out for you. I'd be most intrigued. So I'll keep you updated on this weird story, and I am going back to work, which is up the stairs. So fingers crossed that this IVF can go ahead. I really hope so, because mentally I'm kind of ready to do it, and I don't want to hold off to a time when I'm back to work and actually it's going to be stressful. Going back to work in September, October, it's like, as a lecturer, the busiest, most crazy time of year. That is not when I want to be running around trying to do this treatment. So I tried to time it as teaching was shutting down, as we were going into a phase where I could book more leave. To have to postpone it to a time where things are absolutely chaotic will be very stressful. But, you get what you served and you move forward with it. So fingers crossed, and I will keep you updated. I'm going to work now. Bye. So I'm making this video, I think, nearly 2 weeks after what you've just seen. And we have hit a bump in the road that nobody really could have predicted, and that is that our IVF treatment has now been cancelled. By the time we were told that, I think we were both expecting it, and we were kind of mentally ready anyway, and something deep within me knew that that was probably the right thing at the moment. They had initially told us shortly after I made my previous video that we could still go ahead with our cycle, but it would be a frozen cycle. That meaning that we would still go through the kind of whole month process, they would still retrieve eggs, they would still fertilise the eggs and create, hopefully, embryos, but those embryos would have to be frozen. They could not be implanted back in me. And that seemed like a good option at the time, because it meant that it wouldn't start a possible pregnancy, it would keep me safe, it would keep potentially any unborn child safe, because we do not know the effects this virus is going to have. We're still kind of waiting for more data and more feedback on, are there any consequences on pregnant women and babies. At the moment, pregnant women have been told to self-isolate for 3 months. So I'm kind of relieved that perhaps had I already been at the stage of pregnancy, the thought of having to completely isolate for 3 months and being paranoid about anything, we're already paranoid, anybody kind of as it is, but the thought of my partner going out to get some groceries or to get some essential medicine, even that would scare me, because then she'd be coming back and I'd think, oh my gosh, maybe you touched something, or maybe someone was too close to you and now what are you bringing back into the house, and I'm pregnant and what's going to happen. So at least kind of we don't have to worry about that. I was a bit gutted that the frozen cycle wasn't allowed to go ahead and it just ended in complete cancellation. But everyone's in the same boat at the moment. I've got a friend who I've known for a very long time who's also had to have her treatment cancelled, and we had a chat which really helped. And I've also I've made a lot of new friends on online forums of, women and men as well, people in relationships, single people, all kinds of people who are absolutely gutted at this kind of, it's like there's this massive pause button and someone's just gone bang. But in the grand scheme of things, people are going through a lot worse, but it still feels, it's almost like you're kind of grieving for something you never had. You're grieving an opportunity, I suppose. For now, I just kind of packed everything away. That was kind of my whole treatment schedule, and I had it all in my kind of mapped out in my calendar. This is when this appointment is, and this is when this is, and I had all my annual leave booked, and everything was in place, and I've just had to throw it. I say I still got this, but after this video, I'm just going to have to rip it up and throw it in the bin. Because I think it's easier mentally for me to just put everything away and be like, right, this will be a part of my life, but at this present moment in time, it's just kind of being benched. It's just waiting in the shadows, and eventually when it's safe, it will come back. And to be honest, I've been doing really well. My partner is amazing, and she's been really, really strong and has been going through a very difficult time. She lost both her grandparents in the last week because of coronavirus, which was not expected. So she's been going through her own immense struggle emotionally, but she has been incredibly strong and positive for both of us moving forward. So I'm very lucky, and my family are absolutely amazing. So, there's plenty of people that I can talk to, and that's been great. I think my mum was as gutted as I was, to be honest. But the one thing I found difficult initially was because we've gone on lockdown in the UK now, for instance, all the schools suddenly closed, and I work at university and that closed. But when the schools closed, obviously everyone was suddenly having to deal with their children, especially if you have young children, being with them permanently and homeschooling them. And I appreciate for a lot of people that's a huge challenge. But I had a lot of friends and colleagues and various people suddenly sending all these photos of their children saying, how are we going to cope? We're on lockdown and now we have to, deal with our kids 24/7. And I think at the time, me being told that I couldn't go forward with IVF, it was a bit of a blow. Then having everyone moan about being with their children, I'm thinking, well, you're lucky you have them. Like, it would be nice to have a child now during the lockdown, because at least it gives you a complete sense of focus and stability, and it forces you to kind of take your mind off things and look after, another human being in that capacity. So that was hard. It's also been hard because I've seen so many jokes kind of online on social media about there being a baby boom during this time. And I know in the IVF forums, a lot of women have said people need to stop saying, oh, there's going to be a baby boom, and in 9 months we're going to be calling them the corona babies or something ridiculous. Because, for people who can conceive naturally, this isn't necessarily going to stop them. They can go ahead and do that if they decide to. I would hope that a lot of people would still put that on pause until they know that it's safe. But they still have that choice, whereas for people like myself, we don't have that choice. We just have to wait. So I never anticipated this being an obstacle, obviously, and we'll see where the road takes us. I think in the back of my mind, I'm thinking it will be around 3 months till we're allowed to start again, but potentially I could be wrong. It might be even longer. It perhaps might be shorter. So I don't know where chapter 3 will take us. Today is the, I think, 29th of March. I'm starting to lose track of time. So let's see how far from here I have to wait to start again. And it's really made me realise when people have said, don't plan your IVF, don't assume it's going to happen then, don't assume you're going to get pregnant, don't assume this is when you'll have a baby, don't assume it's going to work. No one told me, don't assume there's, not going to be a pandemic. So that's it for now. I'm keeping busy and I have loads to do, even though I'm confined to my house. So I will see you in chapter 3. What we'd cleaned out is now just being taken up by food again, which Makes you feel a bit hopeless, but never mind.